Hey guys, welcome back to the All Sports Pass. My name's Eli, I'm your host, and we got a bunch to talk about. And I figured, you know what? Gibbs upset Anderson County, so let's bring in two Gibbs players. We got, of course, um, quarterback Keith Jones here, and we also got
Yes, sir.
lineman Seth Seiber. First off, before we get into it, y'all know I got to start off the verse of the day, and today's verse comes from Psalm 34:5, and it says, "Those who look to him are radiant; their faces are never covered with shame." Before we get into this video, leave a like, subscribe for more high school football content. Without further ado, let's begin. So, first off, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling after that win?
Feeling great.
It just feels amazing after getting, after the week we had of practice to finally get that win over them. It feels amazing.
And so, of course, so what I want to start off with first is of course, the season, of course, didn't seem like it was going y'all's way at first. Of course, y'all start with a uh, with a game 1 win over Union County at Union County. Of course, 49-0. You then go for your second straight away game to Halls, and I'm pretty sure I uploaded a few clips of that game actually. And the other thing about that is of course, you then get a home opener against Alcoa, which honestly, it's Alcoa. Obviously, no, everybody's going to struggle a bit here. Here, sorry, I'm just going to move up a little bit. And realize I was that far back. But like then you all travel to Morristown East, get a blowout win on the road. Then this is where it all happens. South Doyle, 27-24 upset loss in overtime. And then y'all basically, and I remember, I don't remember who said it to me, but they said that y'all needed to regroup and stuff like that. And then y'all end up going out there, get a blowout win over Lenore City, and then y'all go to Anderson County a few days ago. Sorry, and the thing that I want to say about this, that 2 Thursday games in a row, how are y'all able to do that?
It's a lot. On the
Uh,
body. Just gotta push through it.
Yeah.
yep, having full Monday practices it's exhausting, but it's a lot of mental days.
Yeah. And also, we're gonna start off with a bit of the season, like I mentioned, like just earlier. What I'm saying is, of course, like y'all go to Union County. So your plan into that game, of course, was just play Gibbs football, like that's fun with every game, and of course, Gibbs football worked in that one. Um, and then you get your next challenger against Halls, and this is probably, I'm gonna be honest, probably the best performance I've seen like from any Gibbs team from like even from when I was a student there, against Halls. Like, and I will say this, that there were a bit of flaws up there, but y'all were able to push through. And what can you tell me about, like, of course, like going into that game? What were y'all told, and what was the plan like really for that game?
I was just pumped up. Just played my best. Team played the best, and we just beat them.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with what Keith said there. Yeah.
yeah. And then of course, you know, and then of course the thing about it is that after the Halls game, there was a whole bunch of people who were trying to get on the field, but they banned them.
Okay.
But the thing about it though is this is that y'all then end up having a home opener against Alcoa, and of course it's Alcoa, so there's not really much to say about that. Then y'all go on the road against Morristown East, who is a 6A team. Y'all go up there, blow them out 49-7. Um, thing about Morristown East though is that like what was your plan for like the road games? Because I did notice that like y'all tend to be a little like what, how am I trying to put this? Basically a little bit more vulnerable on the road. Like how are you able to to get that blowout win over Morristown East?
Dry. It was pretty dry out there. Not a lot of people. Not a good environment, really. We just had to come up there, play our game, and just do our best, play like us, and win the game.
Hmm.
Yeah, playing in dry environments like up at Morristown just gave us a lot of time to. You had a lot more time to think. It wasn't as loud as AC or Halls. We had time to sit and think and kind of slow things down a little bit. So the whole point of practice was, it's going to be dead. There's not going to be a crowd behind you. It's just time to just play play the small things. And
Yeah.
we took care of business.
All right, and of course, leading up to, of course, the South Doyle game, of course, y'all are actually up like 21-13. I'm even going to admit I underestimated South Doyle. I really did. And then
We all
South Doyle,
did.
of course, ends up coming out on top in overtime. And I think it was Seth that actually interviewed after that game. And of course, what were the coaches saying like after that game? Because of course they didn't really let anybody up in the huddle basically during that like in the post game huddle. What did Coach Turner say to you guys about the game?
Basically that we just gotta come out of practice the next week, forget about it, come ready to play, don't let it affect the rest of the season, and we just can't keep having bad practices.
Yeah, and then of course y'all end up doing really well against Lenore City, and of course y'all end up going out there to basically dismantling them 56-14, and it seemed like y'all got a good regroup. Y'all defeated a 5A team. Y'all end up having the advantage like throughout that whole game on both sides of the ball, and so.
Chill. Sprite.
All
Sorry.
right.
Bentley.
Wait, you're Wyatt Bentley?
Wyatt Bentley, Chase Norman, and Wyatt Shropshire.
Hey, shout out to the homies.
Shout out.
Hey, hold on. Bring him on camera real quick. I want to see
Get
this
him on
real
camera.
quick.
Get him on
You
camera.
want to see him?
Yeah.
I'll
Hey,
go
I
to
think,
him.
hey, this is some of your senior group right here, actually. So yeah, I figured that we should all see the seniors here because we've actually interviewed a few of these guys. So yeah, yeah. So we got Wyatt Bentley right there. And we got Chase Norman and Wyatt Shropshire. So yeah, so I guess we got some bonus guests. Sorry, not
Got some
bonus
bonus
guests.
guests tonight.
Yeah, I guess so. We ended up having some unexpected guests here, but yeah. And then of course, what I want to mention is this, like for Keith specifically, you end up, you being a sophomore, you end up taking the starting position at quarterback.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
what was the pressure for you? Like, because of course you hadn't had a starting position since your middle school years.
Yeah.
What was the pressure on that like during your first game?
I just had to couldn't let the age affect me. I just had to play my game. And majority, I say that came in with working a lot in the summer, getting caught up to speed with the high school, and just come out there, do my best, play my game, and not let anybody affect me.
Yeah, and I can honestly see that honestly. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like when I saw you play for the first time, because keep in mind, like, I wasn't, covering like and I still don't as of this video cover middle school.
Yeah.
Like, what I see is this. It's like, I don't know if y'all remember this because like I think this might be when y'all were like little kids, but Captain America Winter Soldier trailer where it said he's fast and strong, has a metal arm. I'm like, dude, Keith can flat out run. He can throw. This guy's amazing.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
no problem. But and of course, being able to get the ball downfield is something I think Gibbs had, really been struggling with these past few years. And the fact that that you're able to throw the ball downfield is what really helps the offense, of course, do their job and getting points on the board. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then next question I have for Seth, of course, and I'm gonna probably say this, but you've been probably nominated for like defensive player of the week, like probably like what, 5 weeks in a row? Um, and ended up, I think everybody's saying, bro, this dude Seth got to chill. Yeah, but the thing about that though is that, really I even uploaded a few highlights of you like actually like do like doing a lot on defense. And I personally think that defense, was really struggling a bit like before, like the last couple years. Like, what do you think the main change on defense has been to where you've been more success to where not you and the whole team has been more successful as a whole?
I feel like we've had a lot of new coaches come in. We had Coach Ellis come in with the D line. We let Calfee, sit into that defensive coordinator role a little bit more. We had two new linebacker coaches this year. We've had a lot of people helping in a lot of different ways, and I feel like our coaches have put us in the best position possible to make those stops on defense.
Mhm. And before we, I know we've been recording for 11 minutes, but like, of course, before we get into the Anderson County game, I just want to say this, like we mentioned on the South Doyle game, it seemed like that opened y'all's eyes a little bit on what you'd need to do better before you head into the rest of region play, and y'all were able to test it against a non-region opponent, which ended up working out well, and were there was it basically about the same thing you did against the North City, or did you change some things up before you went to the Anderson County game?
We had a few new plays in for install, but mainly just play our game. Just be us. Nothing too
Lenore
much special to it.
Lenore City was a lot of just line up and play Gibbs football. AC, we'll worry about that when we get there. When we're going to worry about Lenore City and fixing what we need to fix from that South Doyle game.
Mhm. And I'm gonna be honest, like at the AC game, like I'm gonna be honest, I really underestimated y'all because like I don't know if you remember 2023, your freshman year, and you were in eighth grade at the time, Keith. Um, Gibbs was blown out at halftime, 55-6, and then the next year y'all did something different. Like you tested this out. You ended up, deciding to really hide your plays a bit, to try to make AC guess, really. Always play running, and that seemed to work out a little bit. And and no, I'm not. If you are wondering, no, I'm not accusing them of sign stealing or anything. I'm just saying, like, because usually against tougher teams, you can like hide your plays to try to make them guess to see what happens. Like, really. But last year, of course, it didn't go y'all's way. Of course, y'all were able to keep up with them during the first half, but the second half just ended up not going the way Gibbs wanted it to. And of course, Anderson County won 49-6. But what was different about going into this game this season?
Don't be worried about the team and like what you heard about them in the past. Just go up there and play, and that's what we did. We came up there and played, did our best, do every small part right, and we came out on top.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Keith Jones Jr. was the difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
We had not been able to establish a pass against Anderson County for the last couple of years. We try to keep it, up the guts and between the tackles. This year, being able to air it out, especially with the great left arm, it changed the whole game, and it really knocked them back a little bit. I think they weren't expecting us to come out and throw it. And would you have 3 passing touchdowns?
Yes, sir.
They weren't. I don't think they were ready for it.
Yeah, and also, so when we go into an Anderson County game, like y'all are going on the bus. Were you like feeling nervous or anything about the game? Like, were you because like I'm gonna be honest, like you know, you know, Maverick Stadium, in my opinion, is like one of the toughest places to play in East Tennessee.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
And like, of course, they got the cowbells, they got the air horn, they got
yeah, they got it
fireworks.
all.
Yeah, and of course, you got them passionate Anderson County fans up there,
Yeah,
and of course they. I'm just gonna throw this in just for potential means. They also got a dog going to the kicking tees.
yeah,
Which honestly, I'm gonna be honest, they probably wouldn't want me down there because I probably would have said, "Hey, I'm taking this dog with me." Sorry, I just had to throw that in. But anyway, so basically, heading into this, y'all scored first, and I was actually at work during this. Basically, I was just trying to keep up with updates and stuff. I see that y'all get on the board first. I'm like, okay, probably let's see what happens. And then, of course, I think next drive, Anderson County scores. Then y'all get the ball back. Y'all score. Then Anderson County scores. And I'm not gonna get into this too much because I don't want to risk making anyone mad here. But the onside kick attempt there, like I'm just gonna admit though, like the thing about it is like the onside kick, I was a bit confused about because I just feel like that, that you're kind of taking a risk. Like I understand if it's like fourth quarter,
yeah,
but if it's like but if it's like second quarter, that just didn't make any sense to me.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but of course, that they score off that. but then y'all basically go on a rampage after that, including and of course he's not on the show today, but he did let me upload the clip. Mikkel Van Pelt hitting a 50-yarder.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was like a 48-yarder originally until like a false start call, I believe it was.
Yep.
It was a false start.
Yeah, because like
Kind of worked out in both ways, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing about it though is this is um like when I saw the film, like because keep in mind the quality wasn't great, but it ended up I also couldn't tell who jumped first, honestly. So yeah, but it didn't even matter because like y'all had faith because of course coaches had faith in Mikkel from that range. Of course, he previously tied the record of 47 yards actually in the Union County game in 2024, and I was like, okay, this is 3 yards more than his personal record.
Yeah.
So and the school record. So let's see what he's got. He makes it, and I'm just speechless. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, how does this guy not have any offers yet?
Yeah.
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 So that's the thing about it. And so we also do have a bit more here. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of the stats here, and Keith, I'll let you go if you want. After this here, of course, you had 16 completions on 13 attempts, 190 yards with a long of a 64 with the longest 64 yards, and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, QB rating 245.08. Like, let me tell you this. Where on earth has this been for Gibbs the last few years?
Couldn't even tell you.
Like, because, like, don't get me wrong, like, the last few quarterbacks we've had were great, but I don't think I've seen them put up numbers like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the last thing I'm going to ask you, Keith, before I let you go, is what were you feeling like that entire game? Like, of course, leading up to the final play of that game.
I was feeling great. I thought it was a great game, great atmosphere. I was just out there able to play ball with my boys and just do me and lead the team to a win.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so so of course I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Of course, because you're out with friends, hanging out,
Yeah.
eating some good food, and also no, we're not sponsored by Sonic, by the way. Although Sonic, if you do want to sponsor, hit your boy up.
Get that
Yeah.
NIL deal.
Nah, we ain't doing no NIL.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, no problem.
All right, I'll see you. I'll see you, Seth.
See you,
See ya.
QB.
All right, so of course, guys, of course, so unfortunately, I would have wanted it to last longer with Keith, but like I say, he's with his friends right now, so I just figure, just ask him a few questions. So yeah, luckily we got Seth here, so yeah, so I guess you can reintroduce yourself, I guess.
All right.
I'm just joking. But anyway, when you're basically like you play both sides of the ball, you've done that for like the past 2 seasons, and what I want to talk about is, of course, 2023, which is of course my senior year. Um, what do you think the difference was between like both sides from 2023 to 2024 to 2025?
Going from 2023 being a 14-year-old, 160-pound freshman, everything was so much faster. Everything was so much bigger. I feel like, my coaches especially getting me a lot of reps in practice. I really got kind of used to it. 2024, I was just trying to fight to get my name out there and, show people, be there for my team. This year, I feel like I've gotten to stand out a lot more because the coaches have put me in a great position to be able to start as a freshman and then gradually get better as I got older. But I feel like the competition level has definitely upped since my freshman year, but I also feel like, especially our program has also we're on the upscale.
And of course, like I mentioned, of course, you played under 3 different quarterbacks. Of course, with those being Actually no, 4 if you want to count Chase Norman's 2 games. Of course, Chase Norman, Maddox Brackfield, Warren Axton, Keith Jones, and I just feel like like I just feel like that the offensive line has also been stronger because I've noticed like between all of them basically that the offensive line being stronger was the result of that was giving the QB more time to get the pass off. And also I will say this, there's a play that I really miss a lot, like that I really wish happened a little more often. That's the double pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was awesome. And I think that, of course, the first time they tried that ended up being a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was against the Halls game, which of course Halls won, which we're not going to talk about.
Right.
But of course, they end up, doing the double pass, and then of course they tried it a few more times during the season, but it just either didn't work out or it was called back.
Yeah. There was a lot of different things.
Yeah. But I do notice this, like of course, the thing that of course really gets forgets, like of course the thing that they really don't want to talk about really is like y'all have a good regular season, and back then, of course, in that region, which we're gonna say here, it was originally, of course, you had Anderson County, Carter, Fulton, Gibbs, South Doyle, and then you had Seymour, of course, like and then after, Seymour was moved back up to Region 1, you get 3 new teams in, and of course, really those 3 new teams, you're not really, concerned about the other 2. Like, of course, you wanna win, and you gotta take it 1 game at a time, but there's one team up there that I think nobody really that everybody's scared of, and that's Alcoa. Like, what effect do you think Alcoa has had coming into this region?
I think coming into the region, there was a lot of noise talking about when they announced that they were coming to our region. There was a lot of noise, a lot of teams, especially us in Anderson County, were kind of, we had to think about it. And I think that's what really caused us to have to really, lock in on that Anderson County game is, we played at Anderson, or we played Alcoa, and we didn't have the result we wanted. Well, now it's time to go and play Anderson County. We were like, it's time. Like, we are done getting pushed around. I think getting blown out by Alcoa really lit a fire in us, and especially after the loss to South Doyle as well. Like, the fire's burning. The fire was
Mhm.
burning when we came into Anderson County because we were hurting from losing, and heard a lot of guys talking about, we're sick of losing. They hate to lose. Those boys hate to lose, and I think that's what's fueling us right now.
Yeah, and, of course, like we mentioned here, like, like we mentioned the defense earlier, and of course for the Mavericks, like they put in like 3 different quarterbacks, I believe. Um, of course, you had coach's son, JD Gillum, who is highly ranked for his class. But of course, you have to see what he does in like 4 more years because he's a freshman. Um, they put in Damian Lavelle, and they put in another guy, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know who that guy was.
Yeah.
Um, but he ended up, just but of course, for those plays, like, of course, you led the team with 11 tackles, and you also had like half a sack. Um, like, what do you think was different about this Mavs team from like the last few years?
I think the last few years they did run the ball a lot against us, but I feel like they established the run better in the past, having Moog and LaRue, those guys.
Mhm.
They always had a really great offensive line. I feel like this year the game was mostly in our hands. I feel like we punched them in the mouth how we've been trying to the last few years. The last few years we we get them in the first quarter, first half, and then we sit down from there. But I feel like on Thursday we had so much fight in us, and we whatever they had, we had an answer to it.
Yeah, and there's also another thing too. I'm like just the really good defensive plays. And of course, when we mentioned the South Doyle like loss earlier, the thing from South Doyle is this: is that you know, is that it just seems like, if you're gonna be like trying to like basically kick the ball away within like the last few moments or like try to kick a field goal, do not do that against Gibbs because like y'all were able to block it to send it to overtime against South Doyle. But however, I don't know if you remember the Brady Hughes block from Northview. That was a couple years ago, which I'm gonna be honest, I can't believe that was nearly 2 years ago. Still
Oh
feels
yeah.
like yesterday. And that was actually my last game as a high school student. And I still cannot believe that it's passed by that fast. But even I still remember that. Basically, it was like a back-to-back block, basically, because Northview blocked it to prevent Gibbs from winning. They go to overtime, they score, Brady Hughes blocks it. And then, of course, against South Doyle, y'all blocked the field goal, send it to overtime. Then, of course, the thing I want to ask, like before we I know we're taking a little detour here, but with the thing about it is against South Doyle, like what was the eye opener on defense? Like because like it just seemed like that y'all were able to like it just seemed like the defense just was not really itself, really.
I feel like so what we talked about a lot in practice is they used what we were really good at against us. We have a very fast, I would like to say we have a very fast D line. They allowed us to get too far upfield, making gaps to the running back. I feel like our linebackers they read it so fast that they end up overplaying it. It felt like everything we did good, they just allowed us to do that and beat us with the simple things. Especially a lot with what Turner was talking about after the game. We went over in practice. Is it's the little and simple things that give you big wins, like against AC, and big upset losses, like South Doyle. It's just doing those little things right. Those little details that most would say aren't important are usually the most important.
All right, and then of course, leading up to it, of course, like we mentioned, the Lenore City. Well, I noticed the improving defense. Now, of course, the defense did allow 14 points. But however, and of course, that's the other detour. Sorry. Basically, sorry, we're gonna have to rewind a little bit. But uh, the thing about Gibbs is this: like for the past 3 seasons, they had their season end to Greenville. And I'm just curious, like, do you think that Anderson County was kind of like Greenville in a sense?
We would let the games get to us. I feel like we had enough talent in some of those Greenville Anderson County games, especially last year, being tied or a 3-point game at halftime to both AC and Greenville. I feel like we let those games be more than they were. I feel like we kind of accepted the fact that we were underdogs and we didn't come out punching. I think I think we kind of let AC be more of a Greenville in a sense. But yeah, losing to the Greenville every year in my first 2 years of high school football in the second round at their place, it was really tough. But I feel like we did let AC we held them on a pedestal a little bit.
And also basically, that first in that region, of course, y'all do play Region 1. Like I'm gonna be honest, that region is mostly a toss up between two schools, and it's actually a rivalry too, Greenville and Elizabethton. And we've seen what Elizabethton just. I'm gonna be honest, like with Elizabethton, they just haven't really like ever since they gone to 3 state championship game appearances, they just haven't been themselves. And of course, from what I talked to, I'm not gonna say his name, but I talked to someone who played for Carter, and they said they wanted to play Elizabethton for the 4th year in a row, and because they said they felt better against Elizabethton than they did against Greenville. That didn't happen. Instead, Fulton got Elizabethton, and then I remember actually being at the game last year against Cherokee in the playoffs. Um, I go up to my guy Bradley Smith, who like I mentioned, y'all might see Bradley on some videos every now and then. Um, I started going to say, "Oh my goodness, Fulton's beating Elizabethton right now," and I'm just like, "What happened?" And of course now, and how I say this is relevant is because of the fact that like basically, if you're in Region 2, you just don't want to play Greenville all that
Right.
fast. You want to play Elizabethton because, in my opinion, Elizabethton is I want to say kind of a less revved up Greenville, in my opinion. Like, but I do think AC is better than them. I will say that. Um, but I do think, of course, that with Elizabeth and of course the Cyclones, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. But however, these results, of course, like that I mentioned before, I think anybody in the region would be a bit okay with playing Elizabethton, but basically the environment up there, from what I heard, is the toughest part about that. But however, the thing about what we mentioned for Greenville is like, what would you say compared to like, because you haven't played Elizabethton, but what would you say the environment's like at Greenville?
At Greenville, I feel like the environment's a little different than AC. AC, they're used to winning, but they're also used to holding up the fact that they're one of the hardest places to play in Tennessee. Well, I feel like Greenville, they're also used to winning, but they're more focused on winning than being. It's quite a hostile environment, but it's nothing compared. Speaking like AC or anywhere like that, but playing at Greenville, it's just like I don't know. It's kind of dead like Morristown East, but at the same time, with the cannon and the cool entrances, they just have like a different kind of way up there, which I really respect. They have a very rich school football tradition.
Yeah, and the reason why I brought that up was because, like, of course, with Gibbs, of course, losing to Greenville the last 3 seasons, but the results got better and better. Like that's why we mentioned, of course, the defensive upgrades that ended up, happening across year after year after year. And you even got a fumble recovery off of Carson Quillen, who actually plays baseball for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing about it though is that if you ever hear about someone from Greenville, I think the first person that comes to mind is someone with the last name Quillen.
Right.
Yeah, and I will say this, that was probably your best game against Greenville, like, in Gibbs history. I mean, like, I'm not counting the 1929 game because that's before the modern era where but so I don't know if you all have seen this before, but, like, I am kind of a bit of a history nerd. I'm not sorry for that. But,
Right.
basically, in those early years of football, for some reason they were I don't know if the defense was just really good or something because all the games were basically just low scoring.
Right.
And and I think that win was like in 1929. It was like a 6-0 win. And I was like,
Yeah, man.
yeah. However, I do think they know in the modern era, Gibbs has just been on a roll. Of course, back in the 90s, you go back to the like before they suspended their program for so long, they end up, bringing it back sometime. I think it was, I believe, the 50s, 60s, maybe. I don't remember. I don't know. But you end up seeing this, like, they did not really have a lot of good seasons, like, really the best season was actually with, of course, Coach Hibbett under when he played running back for them. They go 11-2. Of course, they were in the region that year, and the thing about it is this, a fun fact I found about this was in that district, it was Austin East, Fulton, Gibbs, which the only reason why I mentioned those three is because Austin East is actually the key here. Um, Fulton defeated Gibbs in a shootout, but the thing about it is Gibbs had beaten Austin East, and Fulton, of course, losing to Austin East gave Gibbs the tiebreaker for the region, and of course, that was the farthest they've gone in the playoffs, like going to the quarterfinals, where, of course, the first game of the playoffs was Sequoia, which is a 28-6 win. Then the next game was the winner against Scott and Claiborne, which I'm going to be honest, well, it seems like, I'm going to be honest, like, what on earth, like, am I being this was prime football era, like
Right.
2010s.
Oh yeah.
2010s, yeah. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, for some reason, I just don't feel like it's been the same since the 2010s.
Right.
And then, of course, Gibbs plays Scott. They win 48-45 in overtime. Then they travel to Greenville, where, of course, their season ends.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Greenville ends up winning state championship that year, and yeah. And the only reason why, like, I mentioned this is because, like, I wanted to mention the Gibbs history basically on, like, the seasons and stuff. It seemed like once we get to the 2020s, like, don't get me wrong, they had a good few seasons in the 2010s, but, like, however, they started this decade off, like, of course, they had a 4-6 season 2 years in a row, 2020, 2021. 2022, however, they start winning. 2023, they keep winning. 2024, they keep winning. And now you're basically keeping winning in 2025. And now y'all have proven y'all can play against really any team in the state. Like, and this is where we're going to start talking a little bit more about the AC game. Take me through what you noticed in the first quarter.
The first quarter, I think that's the most energy and fight I've ever seen out of 11 Gibbs Eagles. I think that we had some pregame speeches that were just lit an absolute fire under us, and we came out swinging. We came out. We were hungry. We were ready to end this losing streak since 1992,
which was 33
and
years, by the way, for people who can't, who
30,
struggle with math.
33 years. Yep.
Yeah.
It felt like every year, all of those losses were kind of like going through every player that was on that field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, especially, again, having Keith in the backfield, having a quarterback that can throw the ball, like, all the openings that we wanted, we got. And it was just execution. I think we had really good preparation, and it was time for execution, and we answered the call.
All right, and like I mentioned, of course, y'all strike first, and of course, it goes a little back and forth, and then y'all eventually get your first defensive stop. And I believe they had put in Lavelle at that point. And then of course y'all get like a forced fumble on Lavelle, and I believe it was Omby who recovered it, or Spirdalis. Yeah, sorry, sorry, I get Omby and Spirdalis confused, because I think they're just like one number between each other.
Right.
So yeah, but however, they end up doing that, and I'm like, okay, Gibbs actually could do this. But of course, when I was at work, we have a bunch of wooden stuff there. I was like, but hey, I better on wood to not jinx it. And yeah, and then we end up, of course, with the fact that, y'all end up also scoring on them again, and then y'all force the Mavericks to turn it over, and then you have Mikal, of course, hitting that 50-yarder to end the half. And then y'all go on the third quarter, and I was like, "Oh no, they're not scoring any." And
right.
Then,
yeah, that's how everybody felt.
And then, of course, y'all had allowed. Hold on, I'm on the wrong picture here. Y'all had allowed 7 points in that quarter. But to be able to hold them to only 7 points, like, it seems like that the defense was stepping up, and and that's the thing about that. But then, of course, Anderson County scores, just one final time in the fourth, which we're gonna which I will mention here in a little bit. But thing about it though is that, what was the conversation with the teammates between like the coaches and the team, like after that, third quarter?
After the third quarter,
sorry, hold on. Sorry, I meant to say second quarter. Sorry, because I got a little ahead of myself. That's my bad. Second quarter, I mean.
You talking about the halftime speech?
Yeah.
So going into halftime, it was every thought of what has happened last year. Going into halftime, close game, you could see all the coaches were thinking, all the kids were thinking it. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna choke, and that's what I think everybody had that thought in the back of their mind. What if we choke? And I can tell you that all of our coaches prepared us properly for coming back out and not stop fighting. I think we consistently came out and answered the call every time the bell was rung. And I feel like that's what we haven't done in the past. We kind of came out like, we did it in the first half. Now we're tired. But I feel like this team has a fight that I haven't seen in a football team in a long time. And and you going into halftime, Turner, Calfee, all those coaches were just every position group was prepared to go back in that second half and win that football game.
And there's also another thing too, is the fact that y'all end up, of course, scoring in the third quarter. I'm sorry, y'all don't allow a score in the third quarter. But before I unfortunately went ahead of myself there, what were the thoughts going into the third quarter? And I will apologize for that, for going ahead of myself there. What were your thoughts about the third quarter basically? Like what was the team, what were the coaches thinking? Like what did they say before you went back out there to play the final quarter?
So I think the best representation of that question would be what Coach Ellis tells me and Kean Norman. This entire game is going to be ups and downs. That's what football is. Football is ups and downs. There's going to be ups and downs. You know, we're going to score. They're going to score. It's just how it is. The whole point is to stay right here. No matter how up or down it's going, just to stay here. Play Gibbs football. Don't play the momentum. Don't play the helmet. Don't play with the crowd saying play Gibbs football. And I feel like that's why we were successful on Thursday, especially going into that fourth quarter. You know, like we could have given up at any point. We could have just said, you know what, we fought hard for 3 quarters and laid down. But I feel like this team is hungry, and we really showed that in the fourth.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we mentioned that in the fourth, Anderson County does end up taking the lead. Y'all get the ball back, and then McKell kicks the field goal because, and I will say, because I don't remember what year this was. I think it was 2020. Packers and Buccaneers NFC Championship game. You remember that kick that ended up being that was terrible.
Yeah.
That every Packers fan, including myself, does not want to remember.
Yes.
I was like, why are they kicking it? And then your strategy was I just think that now after seeing it, I feel like Turner had faith in you guys as a defense to get the ball back, so he decided to take the points to where you're only down 1. And then of course what we mentioned, what happened after that, y'all end up, of course the final result, y'all win the game, but what happens after that is AC gets on the field, y'all get a stop. But this ain't just any kind of stop. It's one of those rare stops. Because, on the fourth down, and I think it was Donaldson who did this.
Jacob Donaldson's block kick.
Block punt.
Block punt.
A block punt is more rare than people may think. I mean, it's one of the hardest things to do because, you got a whole team in front of you. You got, they're what, 10, 15 yards back?
Yep.
And Donaldson blocks the punt. And what was your reaction to not seeing the ball go in the air and you see it on the ground?
Second that I saw that ball get batted down by Donaldson, I strapped my helmet up and I said, let's go play. Let's go win this freaking football game. Like, at that point, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to go out and score and we were going to stop them again. There was, in that second half, there was never a doubt, I don't think any of our minds, that we were going to win that football game.
And the thing about it, though, is this, that, the question was, how do you win it? Because, do you want to get a field goal, win it by 2, or get in the end zone? Because you still had 2 minutes, 31 seconds left. Ball was, I believe, on the 20. And because here's the thing, of course, I haven't really had a whole lot of time to really reflect on the game, really, because like I say, no, I was working that day. And then, of course, I feel like they just let you score, honestly, because and for those who don't know, letting them score, because of course you have more experience on the field than I do. What are the advantages that you would say of just letting your opponent score?
Letting your opponent score, personally, I don't believe in it. I feel like you should stop them. But letting them score gives the only advantage really gives you is they trusted their offense how we trusted our defense. We trusted our defense to go make that stop instead of going for the touchdown. Whoever made that decision would have trusted in any situation, really, would be trusting their offense more, which, it works both ways. But personally, that's not how I think, but it's all right.
Yeah, because I will say, so the advantage was this, though. It's with Anderson County, they couldn't really keep, because, y'all still could have got the first down, without scoring, once,
Right.
The thing about it is, I think they were afraid that y'all were going to run out the clock, and try to win, by a field goal. And, of course, which I will say this, that I don't know what on earth Anderson County was really thinking on that, because and like I say, guys, I'm sorry if that comes off as rude or something, but Well, I'm just saying because, like, you're up by 1, and the way it just looked like, it looked like the defense was more laxed, to where basically where DeJuan just got the ball and just was able to basically just get in. And then you have a decision time, 2 minutes, 1 second left. Do you kick it to go up by 6, or do you go for 2, go up by 7? Y'all choose to go for 2. And basically, the two-pointer is not really as common in high school as it is, like, really anywhere else, in my opinion. But the thing about it is y'all had to go for 2. Like, it's the only way to basically say, "Hey, if they score, then and we get this conversion, then we can send it to overtime with another chance to fight if they were to score." And then, of course, DeJuan Harris, of course, gets into the end zone to for the 2-point conversion to be good. And then now you're like, okay, so basically, unless they go for a 2-point conversion, like if they were to score and they get a 2-point conversion, we're going to go to overtime. So, I'm sorry, unless they don't get a 2-point conversion, we're going to overtime, basically. Or let me rewind that. Basically, how it's sent is, okay, if they score, they just need to kick the extra point, we go to overtime. And that's basically what happened. And then, of course, when y'all see that happen, and of course, Mikhail boots it to AC. Then they put in a different quarterback, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, guys. I'm being serious. I do not know this guy's name. But before you went out there, was anything said between the teammates and the coaches for y'all? Like 2 minutes and a second left.
It was kind of like I think with the coaches, it was just let them play.
Mhm.
Do what we've done all night. Do what we've done for the last 3 quarters, and you know I know that the mentality of Clay Phillips, who catches the game-winning interception, like knowing his mentality, I know he was going out hungry. He was going out looking to make a big play. I think all 11, every player with like an Eagles helmet on was going out ready to make a play there. And I don't feel like there really had to be anything said from the coaches. We knew what we had to do, and I think they knew that, and they were just going to let us go, just let us go play football.
Yeah, and of course, like you mentioned, like it seemed like the coaches had more faith in you, like this season than they did, like the last couple years, when they were playing a bit more conservative, basically. And of course, I'll even admit, I felt my adrenaline rush watching that game. And I'll be honest, here's the thing: I cover 9 schools in the North region, but of course, I'm a Gibbs Eagle by heart because, hey, I went there.
Right.
But and of course, I still got some good buds on the squad, like good buddies, I mean, on the squad. Sorry if that sounded wrong there. But that basically, but when I see, like, of course, Anderson kind of get a first down, okay, I'm like, I'm here with it. Basically, I'm here with it. I'm saying, come on, please get a stop, man. Come on, I want to see y'all celebrate. And Clay Phillips, man of the night, gets the interception, which after seeing that, honestly, it looked like that ball was just way too overthrown.
Yeah.
And of course, what's your reaction to seeing the ball go to Clay's hands? Like, what is yours and the team's reaction to seeing the ball in Clay's hands?
I'd say for probably about 10 of the guys out there, it was to freak out. My reaction, I was so exhausted. I feel like I left everything out on the field, and I felt a bit of relief. Like I felt like I could stop. For all week, that's all I worried about was beating AC, and I feel like in that moment when he picked the ball, I felt like everything that I'd worked for as long as I can remember being in high school, I feel like all of that kind of came to fruition. It was a moment of relief, and it was like I could step back and just kind of think like losing those 2 first years, getting this close and then dropping that second half my sophomore year. I felt like all of that was kind of over, and it was the best feeling ever.
and then of course, but y'all had to get one more first down to officially get the dagger. And it kind of reminds me of the Halls game because I was actually at that game. Y'all end up having a fourth down. It all comes down to this fourth down. I'm sorry. It basically comes down to this 1 yard. I mean, and I'm on like a fourth down play. Y'all get it. As soon as you get the first down for that, knowing that you sealed the deal, you got the upset, you get the and that's basically what happens. All that's left to do now is take a knee.
Yeah.
And when you get the first down, when did it start hitting that you all had just beaten one of the top teams in Class 4A in Tennessee?
I think it was when Keith took that first knee, when he got his knee down. I remember just thinking, like, I could kind of like see myself, and I was like, we just beat AC. Like, it was just the best feeling ever. It's just knowing that we beat Anderson County.
And the thing about that though is that y'all did it in Maverick Stadium. And I'm just like, wow. Like the crowd was silenced.
It was absolute silent.
Like you could hear a pin drop in there. And and you didn't even hear the horn go off, nothing. Like it was just a straight shock. And that's why when y'all see the title of this video, pull the upset of the season, maybe the decade, or I may change it to something else. I don't know. But that is probably one of the biggest upsets of all time. And hey, I know dang well that if I actually saved the film, so in case there's like any footage, so in case if they ever delete the footage or something, I still have it. So that's probably one you're probably gonna remember for the rest of your life.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like now, what do you do for the rest of the season? Because of course, you did get a little help from Carter, of course, after that South Doyle loss. Because Carter had already beaten South Doyle. You basically, and with Heritage beating South Doyle, you now have Carter beating South Doyle. I'm sorry, beating Heritage. I mean, you get a little help with Carter, and then you also have help with Alcoa, of course, beating South Doyle. What do you do to potentially to keep that second seed, basically?
I think we need to play. We need to prepare, practice, and perform every night like we did against Anderson County.
Yeah,
I think that will make us successful.
And the thing about it is, like, you try not now. Of course, now while the win against Anderson County was great, you can't just say, "Oh, we beat AC. See, we're unbeatable." You can't think that because then you get a because then you can basically throw the whole game away, basically. Like, and I'm just saying, like, because I've seen it happen before with like other teams, of course. Like you want to say, I want to say Alabama 23 against Vanderbilt.
Right.
24 against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And then of course you see what happened from there, and that's what I was meaning by that. Because Alabama had beaten Georgia, like back when Georgia was ranked number 1 the week prior. They go down to Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia in the squad dominates them. Alabama didn't lead a single point in that game. And now with this, like you and Keith mentioned, y'all need to play Gibbs football every week. And y'all, of course, are off this week. Y'all get to relax, rest, get recharged, and then y'all travel to Fulton to play the Falcons. And then after you play the Falcons, y'all play host to Heritage. Then you end the season and the regular season hosting Carter. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm shocked this season's felt like it's just gone by faster than last.
Oh, dude, it's flying.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be honest though. Like, here's the thing. Like whenever we get to like the end of the season, like of course the end of the NFL season, time starts going slow, and I'm like, come on, please give us football back, please. Yeah, and then of course it's like first game, like we made it. And
yeah, right.
Yeah, and then of course, now with Carter, of course, being a rivalry, not only that, it could decide what seed you get. But the thing about it is, what do you think the first two like? Hey guys, unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties and it basically kicked Seth out. So basically, what the question was who do you think will be most tougher to beat between Heritage or Carter? And Seth just messaged me, so I'll figure out to tell you what happened here. He said Carter will be a much tougher opponent, especially with their heavy pass attack with Brody Sparks in the backfield. He's an amazing quarterback, and I think we have to really prepare playing athletes like him. And of course, unfortunately, with Seth, not being able to finish it, it's unfortunate, but I will say this, that really, we did plan on ending the video here. So, yeah, and that's going to end it for tonight. If y'all like this video, give it a like, subscribe for more high school football content. Once again, thank you to Seth Seiber and Keith Jones for joining us tonight, for joining me tonight. Uh, I hope to have them back on the show soon. And hey, if y'all like this video, get a like, subscribe. And with that being said, God bless and have a good night.